So the first case we're going to look at is that the city has all the rights. Okay? Now, we talked about before, right? If the city controls the forest, what is initially, right? What is their optimal strategy, or what would they like to do? Right? Well, initial, let's call it allocation, even though I'm using the name twice. Okay, but all I mean is initial allocation is what would they before trading begins, right? What is their optimal allocation for them, right? Just the city. Well, they will choose to harvest 0 acre, right? Or 0 acre harvested. Okay, 0 acre harvested. Well, why? Well, because they don't receive any benefit, right? Before property rights allocation, before trading begins, they receive no benefit. They only incur costs, so therefore they would choose to harvest 0. Okay? But now, right, we allocated property rights and we made transaction costs negligible. So now there's an option for the village to make an offer and to buy parts of the land, right? To buy land from the city. Okay? So now the way we think about this is, does the village have an incentive to do so, and will the city accept that offer? Okay, so let's take a look at the first few acres. Let's say maybe the first acre, right? How much damage, right, is the city suffering if that first acre is harvested? Well, almost none, right? Let's say even just say $1, right? So is negligible, right? The first acre has little damage. The city, suffers, $1 worth of environmental damage from that first acre. Now, but how much benefit? How much benefit does the village get from harvesting that first acre? Almost $400. Okay. So let's just pick a random number here. Let's say $200. Right? Suppose that the village makes an offer of $200 for that first acre. First of all, is the village better off? Right? Will the village make that offer? Sure, because the village, right? Even if they pay that $200, they're going to get this surplus, right? Because that acre is going to bring them a benefit of $400. So they'll get, they will get profit basically of $200. Now, will the city accept this offer? Yes, because it only costs the city, right, if that acre is harvested, it will cost the city $1, right? Well, then why not take the $200 and suffer the $1 lost? Okay. Again, remember that this marginal cost is the total value, right? Is what the city have decided the value of the forest to them. Right? So the first acre, right, is worth almost nothing. Right? Is almost worth almost nothing. So yes, they will gladly, right, based on these premises, they will gladly accept that $200, right? Because they're only losing $1, but they're gaining 200. So essentially, they're gaining $199 in profit. And now we have a situation where both parties are better off. Okay, because they're allowed to trade. They're allowed to buy and sell these property or property rights. Now, okay, and we can just keep going, right? Okay, so that deal went well, and let's continue. What about the next acre and the next acre? And as long as the benefit now, then think about this way, right? The marginal benefit here is the maximum offer, right? That's the maximum offer that the village is willing to give, right? And the cost, the way you want to think about it, is going to be the minimum accepted price. Right? That's the minimum price that they're willing to accept, right? To give away that piece of land. Okay? Because that's how much it costs them. And as long as the maximum offer here, the benefit, is greater than the cost, there is room to negotiate. Now, for that particular piece of land, where do they exactly end up? Like, what's the negotiated price? Well, that depends on negotiation skills. Okay. Right, and so, one party might have a better negotiating skill than the other, and so they might, they might win out a little bit. But it doesn't matter where they are, right? So clearly, right, a price down here is going to benefit the village more, and a price up here is going to benefit the city more. But however, it doesn't matter where they are. both parties are still better off than without trading. Now, let's say they trade continue now at 50. Now they reach 50 acres. So 50 acres has been bought and sold, and then they stop here. Now, why do they stop here? Well, because this is where the maximum amount that the village is willing to offer equals the minimum price that the city is willing to accept. Okay? They will not negotiate any further because, well, the cost to the city is greater than the benefit to the village. So the village will not offer a price. Right? Will not offer a price that the city is willing to accept. This is the maximum the village is willing to offer, but this is the minimum that the city is willing to accept. All right, so they will stop here, and which is exactly what we wanted, right? From a societal perspective, we wanted 50 acres to be harvested, and that is exactly what we got, right? Even though the city has all the rights. Right? Now, to make in practice, this doesn't have to be the case, but just to simplify the problem, let's say that for 50 acres, they negotiated an average price. So then what must be the average price? Well, the average price must be $150. So price per acre is $150. And how many acres have been sold? 50 acres. Okay? From who to whom? That is important. So from the city. How do I know? Because the city has all the rights, right? And who did the cities sell it to? To the village. Right? Let's tally up. Let's tally up their outcome. Gain and loss, or we can call it cost. Right? Now, the city, what do they gain? And we're talking about from the transaction. Right? What exactly gain from the transaction? Well, they got the payment. And how do we identify the payment? $150 per acre, 50 acres sold. So 150 and 50 acres, that's going to be that rectangle there. So they gain B plus C. Okay. Now, but what did they lose though? Well, they 50 acres is still harvested. They still incurred that environmental damage. Okay. So now they got C. Oh, sorry, they lost C. So minus C. So the city nets B. Let's take a look at the village. The village, what did they gain? Well, they got 50 acres, right? And they were able to harvest that. So what's the total benefit from harvesting that 50 acre? To get that, you just look underneath the marginal benefit curve, and then you see A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Okay. When you look at the marginal benefit, when you want to look at the total benefit, ignore the marginal cost line. Just look everything below it. Okay. That's what they got out of the transaction. A, B plus C. Okay? But they had to pay for that privilege, right? Because they didn't own the land, so they had to pay for it. How much did they pay? 150 and 50, 150 per acre, 50 acres, and in fact, that is this, right? That's what the city got from this. So this is the transfer payment. So the B and C, the minus B and C, this is the welfare transfer between the two parties. So this cancels out, right? As far as the society is concerned, right? Well, they're not. Right? Society, this is a welfare transfer between the parties, right? So it doesn't affect the net outcome. So the net outcome then is that the village gains A. We add all that up, and we get A plus B. Right? So allocating all the rights to the city, we obtain the optimal number of harvest, which is 50 acres. Furthermore, we got the maximum social gain, which is A plus B that we got before. All right. Now the Coase theorem says it doesn't matter who you allocate it to. Therefore, let's do this again, but instead this time let's give the village all of the property rights.